this funky.
Hi. I'm not sure how much you all can relate to this, but the main reason I play video games is to improve. I don't really care for the title of Challenger or Top 500. I just like looking back on my old gameplay and seeing how much I've gotten better. Whether it's aiming or game sense or whatever, seeing improvement in myself is what makes me come to love a video game. And the best thing to improve upon in my favorite games is movement. Skill-based movement is probably the #1 reason why I always come back to TF2. From rocket jumping, to sticky jumping, to short circuit jumping, to bunny hopping, there's always some movement technique that I can improve upon. But every once in a while, there comes along a movement option that takes so much practice to get even remotely consistent at, that it just feels like luck. An option that you can only use in very specific situations. An option that gives you almost no payoff, that you question why you would even bother going for it. An option that admittedly is really awesome.
I don't understand what's going on here.
Yep, we're talking about one of the most niche mechanics in the game, the Edgebug. Fun fact, Edgebugs are not exclusive to TF2. They exist in every Source game actually, because the Source engine is just quirky like that. Hashtag not like other game engines. So it's a weird mechanic, but is it good? Well, before we talk about the viability of an Edgebug, let me explain what it actually is. Edgebugs are super janky, so I'll just give a quick rundown on how they work. I recommend watching this video by ixam if you want a more detailed explanation. But basically, it's when a player lands on the very edge of a surface with horizontal velocity facing away from the edge. This causes the player's vertical velocity to reset back to 0, while still retaining their horizontal velocity. It's kind of a mouthful, but it's pretty much just keeping your momentum when landing and sliding off of an edge. Performing this gives you two things: fall damage negation and sick movement. Let's come back to the boring part later, and for now, dive into the cooler aspect.
Give me a break, give me a break.
In terms of movement, an Edgebug can act as a jump sequence extender, a way to extend a sequence of jumps. Now, I'll give an example. So you're playing on High Tower, and you're trying to jump from the High Tower all the way down here and through this stairway. Of course, you start by jumping towards the barn, but what next? Well, you could just land and start another jump, or, better yet, you could go for a really fast Edgebug. And I say better yet because there really isn't a downside to going for it. If you were to mess it up, you can always just resort to the first option. So that's good, I guess. Situations like that usually never come up, and even if they do, you'd still have to actually hit the Edgebug, which is even harder since you're falling so fast. As much as I enjoy it, using an Edgebug for movement is impractical. Lucky for us, that's not its only use.
Let's get scratching.
Here's something you might not know. Fall damage is calculated not by distance fallen, but instead by downwards velocity at the moment of impact. Meaning, the faster you're falling, the more damage you'll take. Why does that matter? Well, since edgebugging resets your vertical velocity, you could be falling from the top of the world, find an edge, and just delete the fall damage you should have taken. And that kind of practicality is awesome to see from niche mechanics like this. So next time you see someone die of fall damage, think to yourself, huh, I live. Wait, was that an edgebug? I did take fall damage, but the
Thrag, what if there's nothing to edgebug off of? How am I supposed to bug when there's not an edge in sight?
You know, actually not a bad question. A lot of maps tend to have these large and empty stretches of land. You know, the kind of space you don't have to think about to move around in. And on first glance, you might think that the ground in these areas are flat. And they are, but not completely. See these here? These little wooden boards are so small that you can just walk over them without even noticing. But if you try to notice, you'll see that when you walk over them, your view sort of snaps up and down. This means they're not just there for decoration. They also have collision. That collision might only go an inch off the ground, but that inch is all you need to perform an edge bug, regardless of how fast you're falling, and regardless of your intention. Edge bug. Yeah, I'll be honest, when I go for these super precise edge bugs, I rarely ever hit them. But on a map like High Tower, where edges are plentiful, I often find myself hitting them accidentally, and in places that I didn't even know have that kind of collision. While going for these isn't exactly reliable, they are at least an option. Like if you happen to be in the air with low health and no rocket jumper, no sticky jumper, no base jumper, no double jump, no uber, no bitches, you might as well try for an edge bug. To quote my dear friend, when you're on the john and the toilet paper is gone, be a man and use your hand. However, this doesn't just apply to the inch off the ground edge bugs. From my experience, I've been able to hit a regular edge bug once every, like, 4 tries.
What?
Nah, alright, I know that sounds bad. But listen, when I started going for them, I would hit one every like 20 tries. So what I'm trying to say is you can get good at them. I feel like most people seem to think edge bugs are based on luck, but I believe they're almost 100% skill, and the skill they require is movement. When going for an edge bug, your movement is all you have. Whether it's slowing yourself down, strafing to adjust your position, or just deciding to crouch, you are in control. When I miss an edge bug, it's not that I was unlucky. They're just hard to hit and I'm not gamer enough to hit them every time. But that's okay, because when I miss, it's very obvious what I did wrong. If I overshot it, I just missed the ledge. If I hit it, I don't take fall damage and the jumping sound doesn't stop. And if I undershot it, I take fall damage and the jumping sound stops. Huh. Okay, I gotta get this out of the way now. This technique isn't soldier specific, but since it only matters on soldier, I'm gonna use a soldier example. So, when you rocket jump, hit the ground and slide off an edge normally, 4 things happen. 1. Your vertical velocity drops to 0. 2. Your horizontal velocity slows way down. 3. The game calculates if you should take fall damage. Y 4. You lose your jumping status. Now, when you rocket jump and hit an edge bug, the game just ignores the last 3. But when you're right in between hitting and missing the edge bug, what results is a fake edge bug. Or at least, that's what I've been calling it. I would reference a section about it in the wiki, but it's all written in parkour. When you hit this fake edge bug, everything on the list happens except for number 4. So it's pretty much a normal landing, but you keep the jumping status. That one difference means nothing and has no effect in game. Unless you're playing one specific class, using one specific weapon, with one specific playstyle. This guy right here. A Trollger's main goal was to blow up classes with a Market Gardener, and the only requirement for that is having the jumping status. Now, if the bad guy knows this, he can just wait until you lose that status before swinging. But you can play some mind games. You make him think you're doing one thing, then you fake him out and do the opposite. Like if he hears you take fall damage, he might assume you're a sitting duck. So he walks up and you bop and kill him. Deception. Same thing with an edge bug. He sees your horizontal velocity stop, so he gets closer and deceit. The fake edge bug just leans into this concept even more. He hears the fall damage, he sees the low falling speed. Okay, surely it can't. Treachery. And it gets even better when you start doing combos. Like the Edgebug B-Hop Garden, the fake Edgebug B-Hop Garden, the Edgebug B-Hop 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 Garden, Lennybind, Killbind, Screenshot. The best part is that the enemy has no way to tell if you're still jumping while you're a Schrodinger's Trollger flying around the battlefield. Oh. Right. I guess he can just listen and leave. This implies you use a rocket jumper, but if you don't, you and everyone else won't know if you're jumping or not. Alright, let's wrap this up. I've been yapping for the past 10 minutes and 5 seconds, so now that you know how it all works, let me tell you what I think. Personally, I really like edge bugs, so I'm going to use them regardless of how good they are. If you like something, you shouldn't stop using it just because some dude on the internet tells you it's unoptimal. You can hear him out, but form your own opinion. Anyway, it's not like Edgebugs are useless. The fall damage negation is actually practical on every class and map for that matter. It's just hard. If you're trying to find edgebug spots on your favorite map, a good rule of thumb is if you can walk off a surface, you can edgebug off it too. The map with the most spots I could find was, fittingly, High Tower, which happens to be my favorite map, so it's a win-win for me. The fake edgebug, as I call it, was kinda just a weird thing I wanted to show off, since I hadn't seen anyone talk about it online. It has something, but it's mainly just insurance in case you weren't precise enough with your edgebug. But the movement? That is my kinda shit. It's not really practical, but every time I hit a fast edgebug, it feels like I nailed a 5-0 grind, and the rest of the jump feels 10 times cooler, like I'm soaring through the air, funky beats blaring in my ear. It might not feel like that for you, and that's okay. But for me, edgebugs will be my favorite movement mechanic until the day I die. Unless I change my mind.
Geometry. Oh!
Edgebug!
Did you see the edgebug?
Hey, I know I said in my last video that I'd try to upload monthly, but I got busy and maybe a little lazy, but hey, I'm not gonna stop making videos, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, look at all these names flying by. Cool, right? Oh, also, I didn't make a single edging joke, so sorry if I kinda let you down there. You know what, never mind. If that makes you disappointed, then I hope you have a
Merry Christmas!
That's it. Bye.